All right, we're going to talk about something that has been in the news quite a bit last year. It sort of comes and goes depending on what craziness is going on in the world, and that is what's in our skies? What is it? There's great controversy over it, and I think we all know that there's something hidden that the higher ups don't want us to know because maybe they don't know. So, what if I told you the skies have always been talking to us? From the glowing discs carved into ancient stone to the mysterious lights captured on cameras today, humanity has always been watched or guided. What do you think about this? We're going to talk about it today because across centuries, we've depicted celestial visitors in our art, our scriptures, our imaginations. What is that? We can't ignore it. But here's the question no one's asking. What if these aren't just myths or metaphors? What if they were the breadcrumbs preparing us for what's happening right now? The breadcrumbs. I like that. So today I want to take you on a journey from ancient scrolls to modern skies. We're going to talk about this, exploring the possibility that we are remembering our connection to other worldly beings. We're remembering. And that this reconnection could mark the beginning of humanity's next great awakening. Do you believe this? Well, we're going to explore it right now. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through the fears, live an amazing life. We're going to break through fears. Once we open these doors up, we can never go back. And more doors are being opened into what? Into realms that we, as very isolated, three-dimensional beings, have not really explored to the extent that, well, that's happening right now. And that is why 2025 is a pivotal point, because we are now accepting this is real, and more people are actually experiencing it. Now, the interesting part is that many people in high up positions, I call them light workers, that are stepping forward, are actually admitting that they have had supernatural experiences. And they're talking freely about it. Why? Because we're not, burning these guys at the stake anymore. Sometimes they get thrown out of universities and stuff, but they don't care anymore. And this is the humanity vibration being, let's just say, raising up to a point where it's not tolerating the ignorance anymore. So we're going to tackle all the limitations that you may be holding on to right now, because they're actually self-imposed. They have to be. Nobody can tell you anything different if you believe in certain things that are powerful, mystical, unlimited. And I'm going to tell you right now, you possess that power. You hold it, and we're going to talk more about it. So I hope you'll subscribe and share my videos. It actually helps the algorithm and tells AI that we want powerful, positive, empowering, peaceful messages. And that's what you're going to find here. I also hope that you will consider purchasing my book, because it was downloaded to me and I was told it had to come out now, and that was a year ago. So there are messages in there. I hope that you will heed them. They're pretty expansive, and I think you're ready for it. Also, are you limiting yourself? I have, of course, a quiz free. You're going to love this. Mind over money. We're going to explore the power of the mind, of our ability to actually create any reality. That's our future, and you have to do it now. Your beliefs right now are predicting our future, and we're going to talk about that. My channel is all about creating the future, no limits, quantum physics, all these things that allow us to create this amazing golden era that we go into, but it's still a choice. So you can go in the description and take your archetype quiz. It's called Mind Over Money. In other words, are you holding yourself back? And you get to find out what archetype you are. And then I have a free master class for you to say, how do we solve this problem? Because you can rewire all those limitations, those thoughts that hold you back, because there are opportunities coming in 2026 that will blow your mind. And you got to be ready for them, open for them. Don't hold back. Go, learn, educate yourself, explore entrepreneurship, new positions, new relationships. So let's begin with the oldest question in human history. Who came from the skies? Hello, this is nothing new. We're ignoring this? No, not anymore. So thousands of years before we had telescopes, our ancestors documented visitors who descended from the heavens. radiant beings with power, wisdom, and sometimes weapons that could level entire cities. Yeah, oops, don't be misbehaving there, right? So in Sumerian tablets, the gods known as Anunnaki, we've heard that word before. It's a cool one. Are they the origins of humans? They were said to have descended from Nibiru, a celestial body beyond our known planets. I don't know. I don't know. Nobody's seen this, but there could be something to this. I'm keeping an open mind. They taught humanity agriculture, astronomy, and governance before returning to the stars. There's a lot of documentation, way too many stories to this that makes you think there's got to be something connected to this Anunnaki species. Do you think that's weird? My last name's Onkka? No, I'm just trying to connect some weird dots that make no sense. All right. In the Hindu Vedas, the gods traveled in Vimanas. Super cool. Flying craft described in astonishing mechanical detail. Mercury propulsion. Sound vibration control. We know sound is a big deal, right? We're thinking maybe the pyramids were done with sound and vibration, lifting things up. We know it's possible, right? So why not? And aerial battles waged in the sky. There's all kinds of artistry that is depicting this. And these texts are over 2,000 years old, yet they describe technologies that sound eerily modern. 2,000 years old. Where are they coming up with this? And it's consistent. They're not making it up. So the book of Ezekiel in the Bible tells of wheel within a wheel, glowing with fire, descending from the heavens. It didn't say angels flapping their wings, wheel within a wheel. The prophet standing before a being that wasn't human. Was Ezekiel describing a vision or a craft? I think we know. All right. It's like people in islands, the big ship comes in, a Viking ship with a bunch of white men, like, gods. Or maybe they think it's something else. Just because we haven't seen it before doesn't mean that it is not really something magnificent and not actually all that unusual. Even the Dogon tribe of Africa, isolated from modern civilization, knew of Sirius B. It's a white dwarf star invisible to the naked eye. Invisible. And they knew they were completely isolated long before astronomers confirmed its existence. They said their teachers came from that very star. You can't make this stuff up, right? Well, they sat around and said, let's create something cray-cray. Oh, and by the way, it's going to come true later on. Nope. So how could they know that without contact? Unless they did. So let's talk about the hidden story in art. So we have paintings of glowing discs, angelic figures descending on light beams, UFO-shaped clouds. Oh, I've seen that. My friend and I, on 4th of July a year ago, we were standing there and there were no clouds in the sky. And this one huge disc-looking cloud appeared. By the way, there was a wind and that thing didn't move for 2 hours. And we both stood and watched it and said, what do you think? And she said, I think it's a UFO hiding behind a cloud. And I said, I do too. That thing has not moved. It's the only one in the sky. It just had this, it was huge. It looked like a mothership kind of thing. I think this is going on all the time. If we move forward in time, we find a trail hidden in plain sight. I think I told you guys, did you see my last video? I saw a UAP. Yay, finally. Now, I did see one a few years ago. Looked like a top, and then it bugged out as soon as a craft came near it. Just completely, not a cloud in the sky, didn't move, was not a balloon. I saw one a couple nights ago, and it was huge, but it was a triangle, but it was lights. I didn't know if it was a pyramid, but I just saw white lights, and it was moving very slowly. It was not our Starlink. I looked it up. NASA said, you should be seeing nothing in the sky from where you are. So from the Renaissance to the Middle Ages, artists captured the divine in ways that now look startling, technological, right? They're seeing the same things we're seeing now, but we don't think it's a big deal because we know what drones are and planes. They didn't have that back then, but they were still drawing these. Super cool. I love it. So in the 1350 painting, The Crucifixion of Christ in the Visaki Decani Monastery in Kosovo, I hope I pronounced that right, two strange objects appear in the sky with what looks like pilots inside. That is like, I love this stuff, right? I'm not afraid of this. Come on. Who's worse than us? I'm more afraid walking out there with the cray-crays than I am anything that's landing here. Hey, listen, if they were evil, they'd have taken us out by now. And I don't think they're all great. I think they have their own frequencies going there, but it's so many, way more advanced than we are. So, you know what? Let's keep an open mind. So in the baptism of Christ, a glowing, this is 1710, a glowing disc shines light down upon Jesus. Not a dove, not a star, a disc. So in countless frescoes, celestial visitors are surrounded by radiant halos that look less spiritual and more mechanical, like domes or capsules. Were these artistic interpretations of divinity or eyewitness accounts masked as faith? I'm not sure they were even masked. So throughout art history, the heavens have always been the realm of revelation. But what if our ancestors were painting what they saw? It's happened way too many times. You know, we're looking at caves and we're looking at paintings and it just goes on. And these are civilizations that had no connection, had no communication with one another, right? Identical paintings, images, carvings, they're matching. So the heavens have always been the realm of revelation. The heavens, we're always looking up, right? There's something to this. Of course, we're floating in, we're a speck floating in space. Does that like freak you out sometimes? So what if our ancestors were painting what they saw? What if they were? And encoded the unexplainable as divine because they lacked another framework. So what we don't know, we go, oh, it's evil, or oh, it's a god, right? That's all they were doing. They were trying to give an explanation to this. And maybe, just maybe, we're doing the same thing today. I think we are. Drones, orbs, whatever, and we're really not sure, and the government isn't. Hey, listen, I said this before. If America thought for a minute there was a foreign country flying drones around here, they'd take them out in 2 seconds. Like, we are not wussies over here, okay? But they're not. Why? Because something else is going on with that. And they're not telling us because, why? Because it's not explainable. I think it's a combination of a few things. I think there is the unexplained, and I think there's some of the explained within it. We're going to find out. Eventually, it's going to come out, right? So now our skies are filled again, this time not with chariots of fire, but with drones, satellites, mysterious unidentified aerial phenomena captured by our own cameras. There's way too much of this that's unexplainable. Now, majority of it is. I see this stuff, oh my gosh, let's get 1 million views on media, blah, blah, blah. I debunk it all the time, but I'll tell you what, one of my students, Nikki, you've heard me talk about her, the first time I couldn't debunk orbs. I tried. I really did. You guys have sent me, that I'll go, hey, that's, precipitation. That is the green dot. Oh my God, if somebody sends me one more green dot, in the film. No, it's my husband, my dead husband's communicating. I'm like, no, honey, he can, but the green dot is not it. But this orbs, and her dog died, and actually one orb had the picture in it, that she's not making this stuff up. These are real things, and we're recognizing. We're talking about it now. So let's talk about governments. They've released declassified footage. Yeah, right. Like all of a sudden they're going to be honest. I don't think so. Craft moving at impossible speeds, defying gravity, vanishing, reappearing, and yet the conversation isn't about proof. It's about purpose. Why now? Why this era? Our ancestors feared the skies. Then they worshiped them. Now we replicate them, creating artificial eyes that roam the heavens. Perhaps the transition from worship to technology is humanity's way of remembering. But here's the real mystery. As our ability to look outward grows, we're also being called inward. Every major shift in consciousness, every new era of awakening comes with a bridge between science and spirit. So we have seen certain, like Skywatcher, Jake Barber, no matter what you think of him, these guys have documented some stuff that's pretty compelling. And they are using spirituality to communicate with us and bring these in. They're going into that unknown realms, psionics, they call it. And that is, they go into a meditational state and they're communicating with these other dimensions that show up then. We have to go into that realm. They don't communicate with us in our low frequency. So if you're going to go out there and communicate, you have to connect on a different level, and that's the spirituality meets science. Psionics is real stuff, and they're experimenting with this, just like quantum physics. It's starting to get a little outdated. We're sort of advancing beyond that. So, could these crafts, sightings, or manifestations be catalysts, awakening our collective memory that we are not alone and we never have been? They're showing themselves more and more. It's like, okay, we're getting them used to this. Do a little experiments on us to make sure that, if we take ourselves out, they can replicate us or maybe help, keep themselves alive. I don't know. Doesn't bother me one bit. I think there's a lot of pre-planning that goes into this. I don't have the answers. All I know is I do believe there are good, amazing, wonderful things happening to us, and the heavens are showing up. So the awakening of cosmic consciousness, let's talk about that. Edgar Cayce, I love him because he was a religious, and he didn't even believe his own stuff. Not like some of these channelers, like, oh, blah, 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 and then you hear their personality coming. This guy was totally out, man. He checked out. And so he's talking about reincarnation. He didn't believe in reincarnation. He's talking about Akashic records. He didn't even know what that was. So he really was removed from the information that he brought in. And I think that was the real deal, okay? So we have to make sure we get out of the way of that information. So Edgar Cayce, I trust his stuff, wasn't always right, though. Got to remember, nobody is going to be right all the time. There's way too many factors, and one is free will. So Edgar Cayce once said that many souls alive today are reincarnated from Atlantis, souls returning to help humanity enter a golden era. I did an entire video on this. You guys need to watch that. He specifically said we're going to see remnants, which the time he said they would find it. The Bimini Islands, they're finding stuff down there. That's debatable. But I do believe souls are reincarnated. They were more advanced. They screwed up back then, and they're not going to screw up this time. So I do believe reincarnated advanced souls are saying, okay, we were there and we blew it. So we can come here now and make sure we do usher in a golden era that is not rooted in the material world and service to self, which is what I think took them down. So he spoke of accessing the Akashic records. Go see that video. An energetic library containing every thought, action, and possibility of every soul. So the Akashic records aren't, this is how things are. It's every probability and possibilities in there, and it locks in when you make a decision, right? So the Akashic records are moving, like they're always, fluid. So within those records, he said, lie the blueprints for advanced civilizations and even for our future evolution. Ooh, he had access to some cool stuff. Man, would I love to go in there and check those out. Maybe I'll have to do that. Maybe I'll I have very vivid dreams. So I'll let you know if I accomplish that goal. So if that's true, then the visions, the art, the modern sightings, even the drones are not coincidences. Not. They're signals. They're reminders that humanity is on the brink of rediscovering its own higher nature. We are not these low lifes that kill each other and, point fingers and argue. Oh my God, let's stop the madness. So when we vibrate in love, not fear, we open ourselves to communication beyond time and space through meditation, through compassion, through raising our frequency. We tune into the greater field of consciousness where all beings exist. Where all beings exist. Nothing separate. It's just on different floors in the mansion. That's it. It's that simple. Which floor do you want to be on? I don't want to be stuck in the basement. It's stinky down there. So maybe we're being prepared, not for invasion, not for integration. Why would they want to integrate here? I mean, I'm sure they have boots on the ground, but they're probably not real happy about that. Like these yin-yangs, man, what are they doing? This is a beautiful planet, and they're watching us destroy it. It's insane, right? So it's a time, right now, it's a time when ancient and modern, divine and technology finally meet. We are raising our frequency enough to say, okay, this is possible. All right. Yeah, we got to open ourselves up to this because we can't explain it anymore. We have technology that says, okay, we're not just looking at something in the sky. We can measure these things. Quantum physics is real. We do control other realms that we don't understand, but we know we affect it. And you do too. So the sky is a mirror. So every time you look up at the sky, you're witnessing your own reflection. Okay, let me explain. It's a mirror of your curiosity, your courage, and your divinity. That's what you're seeing. And it's beautiful and it's perfect. And it has all answers and it's communicating all times. You can tap into that. I do it. It's not easy. You have to like shut down the, rah, rah. And so mine is mostly just, you have to get this done and this done, this, even that's chatter. You got to open that up, that silence of go outside, look into those heavens. It's your mirror, right? And you can create anything from it. Our ancestors look up and saw gods. We look up and see drones, but the truth may be the same. Both are symbols of creation, evolution, and the unstoppable human desire to reach higher. And let's stop calling them drones. I really don't think most of them are drones at all, but let's, we'll make, whatever happy by saying they're drones. They're beyond us. So the question isn't, are they coming? It's, are we ready to meet them as our higher selves? It's really coming to that. Are we ready to meet them as our higher selves? We got to go there. They're not coming down. Nobody comes down from the penthouse. They're like, when you're ready, come on up. Let's have a few more bonbons, maybe a champagne, right? If you believe we're entering a new era, you're right. Because it's not about arrival, it's about awakening. If you believe it, you're right. So when you argue with somebody, if they believe it, they're right. If you believe it, you're right. Why do you argue? Stop it, McFly, all right? Subscribe for more explorations of humanity's awakening and the mysteries that connect us all. I'm so ready to deliver some good news to you. Now, if you saw my last video, I feel that something very big is going to happen next year. And as I shared with you, it's going to come from a higher up. It's not anything like we experienced last time I made gave you it's not a prediction so much as an insight, something I'm sensing very strongly. Last time I said, get your house in order. Something big was going to happen. It would be global. This time it's higher up and it's going to affect the planet, but it's on a higher up basis. Something really big is going to happen that's going to shake up the world in a very good way, where it's going to open the door for things to change massively, massively. And when I say higher up, I can't be sure, but I think people are involved in it. I think it's going to be something really cool. But again, you can't go into fear if you want to participate in the golden era. Go look in the skies. What is that you're seeing? I see satellites all the time. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about Starlink, which, by the way, looks like the mothership. But I know the difference now, and I know what I saw wasn't. I'm not sure what it is. NASA says there was nothing in the sky, but let me just share with you. We are not alone. Of course not. We don't even look like each other. What's up with that? If we came from one source, we should all be a duplicate of the same thing, but we're not. We have different skin colors and eyes and everything. Everything. We're different species. What's so weird about that? Why are we so afraid of that? I think it's magnificent. I think that it's time for you to explore your powers. Meditate, ask for answers, and go into that space, that beautiful heaven. And you might just get some communication, some beautiful guidance that'll take you to another space. So again, go into my description. If you are self-sabotaging yourself, if you're holding back on your abundance, beautiful relationships, better jobs, if you're holding back, you're entrepreneurial and you're like not learning anything, there's always, everything has to be perfect. Go take my quiz, Mind Over Money, and find out what your archetype is, and you'll find out what you're doing to sabotage and what patterns you have. And then I have a free webinar to help you get through it. And that's a Digital Explorers quiz and master class, because I see entrepreneurs constantly undermining their own efforts. And I realize if I don't get you on track with this, there's no money, no business, no job out there that's going to achieve your goals if you don't get this in check. So let's work on that. So that's free in there. Of course, Digital Explorers, we're creating purposeful, beautiful online businesses, but it's really a journey of self-discovery. I take you through a self-discovery. This is so much deeper. And I'm going to do some super cool stuff with you. So come on over, check it out. It's free. And then, of course, I have courses for you if you want to participate. But you are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Blessings, blessings, blessings. You can get through anything. This too shall pass. And those of you receive it, say yes. Namaste.